Hey, this is Sam Black with Craig Wesco's Naya tokens deck in Standard. I'm on the play here, and I think this is a solid hand. I can't cast the Lightning Strike, but I can maybe find something quickly with Temple, and I have Courser and good late game and some mana. I'll keep this. Definitely don't need another Lightning Strike that I can't cast. Just play the forest and pass. If I draw another land that isn't a fetch land, I'll want to play that and keep the fetch land in my hand for the Coursers, and I wouldn't mind just drawing more lands, so I play the forest over the Windswept Heath here. Yeah, so now I'll play the plains and keep the heath. So one of the things I'm most concerned about with this deck is between these two forests, this plains and this Windswept Heath, I have no more forests or plains in my deck, so any future Windswept Heaths that I draw will not tap for mana. Start off by attacking here. And now I'll play another Courser. And I'll play Windswept Heath. And I can yield to these things. And I think that I would like to draw Dictate against blue-black. They have no way to get it out of play, and I can use Flash to threaten it at the end of my opponent's turn, so they tap out so that I can resolve Elspeth. Or just play it on my turn after they tap out for a card draw spell or something. So here, I don't especially want to draw a Courser, and I would love to get a free land, so I'm just going to sack this to dig for a land. I didn't get one, but I would rather draw Mastery than Courser. So I'll play Forest and attack with both Coursers. And now I'll just pass. And then I can decide if I want to threaten Dictate at the end of my opponent's turn. Okay, so I'll resolve Dictate. And I get to resolve Mastery. I won't get to play Elspeth because I know I'm not drawing a land and I don't have Courser anymore, but having Dictate and Mastery in play seems pretty good. Now I'll just pass and manifest. I manifested Xenagos, which is unfortunate because now my opponent knows that I'm red, Or, well, will at the end of the game. I was wondering if it was going to be possible to end this game without ever showing my third color. Also, Windswept Heath is an incredibly frustrating draw here because of the issue that I mentioned earlier. I think this deck probably needs a third basic forest so that each of its fetches can find 5 lands instead of 4, since it does play so many fetches. Though here it doesn't really matter, since manifesting is better than playing Elspeth anyway, due to not wanting to run into a counterspell. That's not a bad draw. So I could flip that to try to find a land, but it's pretty bad for me if I don't find a land since I'm down a 4/4, so I'll just attack. Pearl Lake. Yuck. Blocks the Courser, so I can't even post-combat flip it to try to find a red Lightning Strike the Pearl Lake, which is disappointing, but alright, that's fine. Because this isn't a real land, I can't play this. So now I have to just sit back. Okay, let's make another guy and block this thing with everything. Yep. Okay. I think that's all fine. Here's an elf. I could manifest and double block, but that loses to a card draw spell, so I'll just take it. definitely don't want to cast expensive spells, but when I can cast things without giving up Manifest, I like it. Now I have access to red mana. Probably not giving you Ugin. You can have a Hero's Downfall, I guess. And another Hero's Downfall. It's a little awkward. Yeah, Ugin anyway. Yeah, I think I am losing here because obviously this board is horrendous for me. Okay, so these things will both attack Ugin. One of them will get Hero's Downfall, the other will get blocked by Tasigur. And then I'll play Elspeth. Yeah, alright. I guess I'll play Lightning Strike. Wish I could play another spell after this, but felt like that had the highest chance of resolving since I didn't get to Stanful Stroke. I'm just dead to Pearl Lake. Okay, so my sideboard options are not great, but I think I want Valorous Stance because it kills Tasigur and Pearl Lake and counters removal spells. And I want Mistcutter Hydra and likely Sarkhan and Reclamation Sage if I'm afraid of Vault. We'll see if I have room for that. I don't want Lightning Strike, and I have mixed feelings about Dictate. I think I don't want Elspeth. I think it's too hard to resolve. Oh, and I don't like Wingmate either. Elspeth's better than Wingmate. This is probably too many Reclamation Sages when I don't know if my opponent has Vault for sure. We'll try this. This hand is pretty good. Can fetch Forest, play Mystic, fetch Plains, play Mastery, play Mountain, and activate Mastery on turn 3. Then Temple activate, and then next turn if I draw a land I can play Elspeth. Alright, so I'm just gonna follow the line that I said. Get a plains. Play mastery. Attack. I guess I don't want to draw too many planes or have them hit with master, or planes and forests, or have them hit with mastery, so I'll play this. I do want to draw lands in general, but not necessarily those ones. I probably should have fetched. Mastery is really weird in that it makes you want to do things like use fetch lands and Voyaging Satyr on your own turn, so that your opponent can't kill the mastery in response to you using those. That's much more important against Soul Tithe and Blue-Black. I don't think that there's anything my opponent can do to get this out of play, but it's something to keep in mind. Here I'm going to play Temple. And I'm going to scry this to the bottom because I'm going to be manifesting, and I don't want to manifest this. And I'm going to attack with this manifest. And then I'll just pass. Okay, so my opponent does have Perilous Vault. I will manifest anyway. And play this. And attack with everything. Pass. I'll fetch, and I'm going to manifest again, and the reason for that is that I want to be presenting enough damage that my opponent Perilous Vaults before taking damage on my turn, so that I can resolve Elspeth post-combat. Now obviously, well, maybe instead of trying to resolve Elspeth, I should just flip Rebel Master to force my opponent to vault, and then I can resolve Mastery. No, that's worse, because I have 2 masteries, so I'm pretty sure I can force one through anyway. So I will just attack with everything. And my opponent is not having it, so I'll just pass. Wow, still doesn't use the vault. I don't really understand that. I don't see any reason not to mastery here. And now we're back to attacking with everything. will get a vault, obviously. And now I get to resolve Elspeth. And make creatures. Alright, so now I get to put my opponent down to 2. And I get to resolve the mastery. Pretty hard to imagine losing from here. Alright, I do not like the way that my opponent played that game, but that's not really my concern. Given that I've seen Vault now, which I suspected anyway, I will bring in the 3rd Sage just to be on the safe side, and I liked how Elspeth played there, but it's still probably my worst card, so I'll just cut one of those. Tap lands are a little awkward here, and I have 3 red cards and no red mana, so I guess I'm going to mulligan. I also don't have mastery. This is way better. Obviously I'll play this. Don't really need to draw this, although yeah, I think I can do better even though I have mastery. Alright, let's do this, find a plains. In general, if there's not a good reason not to, I like to find plains with heaths and mountains with foothills to try to preserve the land that both of my fetches can find. My opponent doesn't have downfall mana up, which means this Rebel Master has to draw a counter spell, so let's run that out there. And I will scry. I think I want this. I would kind of like a threat, but when my opponent might have Vault, I think I want to have the answer to it rather than not. Now I have to decide if I want to try to resolve mastery this turn. My opponent's already used a dissolve. But I think if I just pass here, my opponent can't really do anything. And it doesn't cost me a manifest because I can't manifest this turn, and next turn I can play this and manifest. And if I'm making my opponent spend mana, I'd rather make them spend it next turn when they could otherwise play a card draw spell. So I'm just going to play a land and pass here. Yeah, I'm going to use this. Sometimes you want to save them in case you draw Courser, but I'm satisfied if I draw Courser anyway, and I don't really expect it to resolve or matter. So yeah, here my opponent can cast Dig or Jace's Ingenuity if I don't do anything, so I'm definitely going to play Mastery to either resolve it or force my opponent to tap out. or tap out of being able to play those this turn. Okay, great. So that's in play. Now I'll play Heath. If I'd known that I was playing Heath, I would have played it before playing the Mastery, due to the issue I was talking about not wanting to like temporarily go down to less than enough mana to activate this. Although again, unless there's some kind of green enchantment removal, I don't think that's an issue in this matchup, and I doubt they have green mana or green enchantment removal. This is just a blue-black dual land. But here I played Mastery first because if it was countered, I was going to play the Temple of Plenty, of course. Just to be extra safe, I will sacrifice this snail. That it can resolve. Alright, well, now we are in the Mastery stage of the game. Mystic. I have 7 mana, so I'll play this to go to 8 mana. I'll attack with my Manifest. And then I'll just pass the turn. I miscounted my mana. That was stupid. I don't know how I miscounted it, but I certainly did miscount it. So I guess what's going to happen is I'm going to Manifest and maybe flip the Elvish Mystic. Kind of wish I'd cast the other Elvish Mystic, but it's not that big a deal. What I should have done is played Temple of Plenty and cast Elvish Mystic. Courser. Oh, that's not bad. I can just flip the Courser. Alright, now I actually have 7 mana. So I'll play this to go to 8. Attack with my creatures that attack. Opponent's on 6 mana, so I don't have to worry about Pearl Lake. And I'll pass. Downfall of the Manifest. That's fine. So this works out perfectly. Ugin has to -3 to kill Courser, and I get to Manifest twice and then kill Ugin. Suppose there's a case to be made that I shouldn't have manifested the Xenagos and should have just played it and killed Ugin with the token that it made. That probably would have been better. I honestly didn't look at what my top card was between the 2 manifests. Let's scry. Put this on top. Kill Ugin. Play some Elvish Mystics that don't matter. in an attempt to get my opponent to tap as much mana as possible to maximize my chance of resolving Elspeth. Hope that I'm running into Pearl Lake. I think I just make my opponent spend some mana. Sure. Alright, kind of wish I still had that Elspeth. Alright, wouldn't really help. Well, this is not a great spot. I think I hold on to this land, but it doesn't matter very much. Okay. And I've basically lost at this point. Sure. I guess I just do things. Alright, so these two can find forests and this can't find anything. They don't think any of my manifests for forests. Yep. So I'll just do this because I don't want to draw a forest. And I'm just going to pay a life to draw a card that isn't Dictate here. Well, I do want that one. How's my opponent doing on dissolves? 1, 2 in the graveyard, and 1 exiled. I'd say there's some small chance my opponent isn't holding a dissolve. It's several digs have been cast. I changed my mind. I'll try to use a different thing to draw it out. This won't do anything. Knowing that I'm drawing a blank next turn, I think I'll just fire this off. Well, that's good. Sure. I prefer to not draw a blank. And obviously I want threats. I wonder if I'm actually going to win this game somehow. Okay, they're dead. let's kill this. You can have Jace's ingenuity. I have enough mana to manifest twice. Worked out perfectly. And obviously my opponent needs a removal spell here, like that one. Sure. Yep. Okay. It's 3 damage to this thing. Sure, it's dead. Yep. Alright. I'll just attack my opponent. Downfall. I guess I'll try Valorous Stance since there's a small chance that he wins the game. Downfall the other one. Okay. Yep, no more manifests. Okay, that was a surprising game win.